if he adds a couple extra chips here sometimes. Yep, sure enough, 150 goes for the full Monty, 3x. Jack 4 for Ian, going to get away right away. And Blake, it looks interested with his Jack 10. I expect him to call here rather than 3-bet. And sure enough, it is a flip. 9's against the Jack 10. And full house right on the flop for Johnny. Queen could be a disaster card. And no slow play in his game. We're just firing right back out with it. Little does he know that might be the best way to play this one in particular, but I don't mind seeing a couple checks in here when you flop so strong. Your opponent almost never has a single thing to work with. Blake looks interested with his gut shot. Going to call it minimum, sure enough. And like I said, Queen would be a disaster card for here. Blake would love his hand, and it would not be able to win. 8's going to give him a couple more options, and there he goes. He does.
Well, that's a nice hand for Johnny Landreth. That's a cool name, Johnny Landreth.
I do like it. It sounds like a quarterback.
That's a good one. I was actually going to say it sounds like an old school cop, but I see the quarterback more now.
Yeah.
Johnny Landreth. Johnny's a quarterback name for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Johnny Utah.
Yeah, exactly. The greatest quarterback of all time. Injuries derailed his career. Look him up. He's really fantastic.
It's actually the name of Keanu Reeves' character in Point Break.
I know.
Oh, okay.
It was a whole...
Oh, I didn't. I thought you were making a joke and didn't realize that it was a real... Okay.
Wow.
I hope during all this...
Do you know injuries derailed his career in Point Break?
I forgot.
He's got a great arm still.
I hope they've been showing clips of Point Break this whole time that we've been talking. I'm sure they have.
Oh, yeah. Okay, anyway, let's get to it. Landreth gets the miracle flop. What a deal.
Yeah.
The question on the flop is about Bond. Should he call or raise? I don't think there's any folding here when the button opens and c-bets and we have a gut shot. Is there a reason to raise instead of calling, which Bond did?
We talked about this in the podcast, and it really comes down to, we think anyway, what Landreth's behavior has been up till now. What's his frequency of raising on the button here? How often is he c-betting once called?
That's the important one, really.
That's the most important one for sure. So if he's c-betting most or all of the time, this makes a lot of sense as a check raise because he's just going to have too much stuff, right?
Right, and if we get called, we have equity against some of that stuff.
Right.
Not this one, but some of that stuff.
And it's an easy fold if we get raised. We're not deep enough to call a re-raise,
right.
And that's that. Well, how much would you make it if you raised?
Probably 450 to 500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Landreth, though, is checking back a reasonable amount of the time, and we think is pretty value-heavy in general, I think we're mostly calling. We're trying to spike something, although a jack or 10 is usually going to be good, too. A queen is obviously feels like kind of a jackpot.
Right. So, yeah, calling is fine unless Landreth has just been c-betting like Barry Greenstein.
Right.
So, anyway, we get to the turn, and the check back happens.
Why?
I get Bond's check. That's fine. But checking back with 9's full. Describe your pain, Jonathan.
I would like to stand up, pull off the restraints in my breathing apparatus and say, no.
Yeah.
They should be showing clips of Darth Vader right now, by the way. I'm sure they're doing that, right? They're doing that?
We got Jar Jar Binks on the screen. That's as close as we can get.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, the point that Jonathan is making is it seems like, especially with the stack to pot as it is, 625 in the pot, Landreth has 925 remaining. We really want to be able to build a pot to get to move in on the river and have it be a reasonable way to get a full double, right?
Yes.
It's going to be really hard to do that without betting the turn.
If we bet right now, we don't have to bet big. If we want to keep all the draws in, which is mostly what's going to stick around, right? Like Trip Kings are sticking around anyway.
Yeah.
But if we want to keep the draws in too, we can bet really small. We can bet 200,000. Those draws almost certainly have to call. I don't know if Jack 10 itself is going to call. Hearts are going to call, I think.
Yeah.
200,000. Or make an aggressive move at us, by the way.
Or diamonds, perhaps. Although
yeah.
we do have the 9 of diamonds that diminishes a lot of Bond's diamonds.
But yeah, that's true. There's like Jack 10 of diamonds and Queen Jack of diamonds.
That's basically
like
it.
Queen 10. But if we bet even 200,000 and get called, now we've got 700,000 back and there's $1 million in the pot. By checking, we have a pot and a half back. It's much harder to get in without looking super strong.
Yeah.
I think a tiny bet here is really called for.
Right. I really like that idea because, of course, kings aren't going to fold either, which is, part of it. And we do block one pair of 9s pretty hard. Those are the types of hands that would be worried we would fold out, right? Like the 9-7s of the world.
Yeah.
They aren't there as often because we have 2 of the 9s. So, yeah, let's bet and hope to get more value from a king and more value from draws.
By the way, if we have a tight image, we're not getting another street out of 9s anyway. And if we have a loose image, we should be betting.
Yep.
So either way, I think a bet is called for.
A call to your doctor is called for because you just had a nitro betting event, which is,
It's bad,
It's
but it's
medically
good.
it's medically bad.
But it's fun.
But it's great because you get cool promotions if you use the link in our pinned tweet when you sign up for nitro betting, and it's worth the week and a half you're going to spend in the hospital based on using the link in the pinned tweet because of the March Madness stuff and the NFL Survivor pools and the monthly tournament. It's all worth it, right?
It's got to be worth it. Even the scorn looks you'll get from your coworkers.
Yeah, because they'll be upset about how sick you were.
and how jealous they are,
Yeah.
of course, from your massive success, potential success.
We'll see you
Nitro
there
betting.
at the hospital.
Go ahead and get the check just in case the queen comes. Unbelievable. Gets Blake's gut shot. Full house for Johnny. This is going to be fireworks. I think the backdoor diamonds aren't going to concern Blake very much. I think hearts may slow down the action. But the only thing that's going through Blake's mind is how do I get the most here? And he's going to go with 200,000. Raise all in. And Blake is going to be sick to his stomach. Gets his dream run out. Makes a straight three-handed at the final table. So sick.
You have more than a king.
If Blake can somehow find a fold here, it would be incredible. I personally don't see it happening, and I personally don't know that I would even recommend it.
I was straight. Believe that? Or no? You believe I was straight or no?
See, 6, 7, 8, 9's about $1 million. It's gonna leave him crippled.
I mean, you got a monster. Whew. Fold.
I think he said fold.
Straight, see? Look.
Fold.
You do have-
Wow, amazing fold by Blake. Three-handed.
Oh my.
All right, so that seems to have gone kind of how it was supposed to go on the river there, right?
Once it goes check on the turn, that's what you'd expect.
Right,
basically,
like Bond going for value makes plenty of sense. He went
Yes.
small to try to capture value from some weak one pair hands, it seems.
I mean, even that weak or even somewhat scared one pair hands that are okay, like ace queen, which might check back. I don't know if it's going to bet or not, actually, but you guarantee value from it now. Right. Like,
So the thing that sucks for Landreth, having not bet on the turn, is how hard it is to get value. As we see, Jack 10 is a fold, and I think it's kind of a clear fold in this spot. Maybe the solver is going to disagree. The solver might not have ICM factors and stuff. I'm not really sure.
We'll know by the time we get there. We haven't looked at the work yet.
Yeah.
So.
But the solver might just decide to call because it's going to assume Landreth is balanced. But most players are not balanced in finding bluffs here. Like the only bluff I can think of that makes a ton of sense for Landreth to have is 8-9. And how many people are really pulling the trigger on 8-9?
I mean, Steven Chidwick is.
Right.
Right. Alex Foxen is.
Yeah.
I don't think Johnny Landreth is. And that's not a put down on him. Very few players in the world are.
Right. And a problem for Landreth getting value here is beyond how incredibly strong he looks, he has the 9 of diamonds in his hand.
Yeah.
And that is one of the major ways that Bond could have a flush, right? Is to have the 9x of diamonds. And we know he can't have that. Now he's down to just the Jack 10 of diamonds, which is a straight, right? And
Yeah,
pretty much
there's no Queen X of diamonds.
Yeah,
It's
there's
on the
no
board.
other diamond except for maybe Ace 10 or Ace Jack of diamonds that he didn't
Yes.
3-bet pre-flop and then he flats on the flop. Maybe.
I mean, maybe we can get value from those. Maybe. But, I mean, we see that Bond makes a relatively easy fold here ultimately.
Like
Right.
he immediately knows it's no good. He just takes a while and has a card funeral.
Right, which is understandable.
Yeah.
It really sucks. But you're sitting there. I mean, the question is, should Landreth even move in for 725,000 more? Can we get called by worse hands? I mean, we can't get called by Jack 10.
I mean, I think we can't just call. I know there are King X full houses out there, and they're pretty obvious and easy to have for Bond. But still, our hand is a bit too strong, it feels like, to let him get away with that. But if we can never get called, I see your point. The other option is to not move in, and this is not like a theory-based move. This is a pure exploit move. Like, let's leave him a little more. That old school move, like, let's make it 550. Can he really get away from the math if you have a flush or a straight or trip kings if I make it 550? Right? You know, like, I can't let you get away for 200, man. I just can't let you do it.
Yeah.
Like, I think I like that better than a move in.
I think I do too. There's a few problems with it. Number one, it is also ultra strong.
Of course
do that.
it is.
And you may still not get called. You may still get called at the same range that you were getting called by anyway. Number one. Number two, I assume you're folding if you get 3-bet shoved on. I know this because we talked about it on the podcast. You have to make sure Bond doesn't overvalue the nut flush there on the river. I'm not saying you would, but some people do.
I don't think Bond would. He's got $3 million in earnings.
Right. Yeah. He has a quality hand, and I don't think he would either. But like, you have to be sure of that because you could make it the worst fold in history. Basically.
Right. You also have to be sure that Bond isn't the Chidwick type who's going to turn King 10 with a 10 of diamonds into a bluff.
Once you raise there, he's going to 3-bet all in for $300K more.
Yeah.
That would be outrageous. But Chidwick might be capable of that. I don't think. I don't think almost anyone. In the world
almost
is.
nobody is.
So it's probably fine to make it 450 or 5. But if he's going to call 450 or 5, I wonder if he's going to call 925 anyway. I don't know.
That's my point. I think most players in these like large field, medium buy-in tournaments are going to be price sensitive there.
Right.
And they're going to make different decisions.
You really could be right.
Yeah.
You really could be right. I don't know.
Either way, this all comes back to the turn and not betting and making it super hard to double up.
I mean, it's really hard to fold the nut flush there.
It is. Anyway. And Bond's decision, as we said, is easy.
Yes.
And I think even if we gave Landreth bluffs, a fair amount of bluffs, this might not be in the calling range. There are weaker hands that are better to call with because of what Landreth is repping at this point.
Exactly.
King 10 and King Jack are better hands to call with.
With a diamond, even better still.
Yeah.
The Jack of diamonds or the 10 of diamonds. But
pretty much any
king
king is a better hand to call with. Blocking full houses is more important than blocking the 10 of diamonds for the flush.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
For sure.
Right. So this is just an easy fold for Bond here, I think. There's not really much to it. I wonder if the solver is going to agree. That's one that I might see
We'll
the
find
solver.
out.
Yeah, the solver saying, "Oh, you're wrong there, buddy."
Let's see.
Hyphenator did the solving on this hand. If you want to see his full write-up, check out our Discord. I'm going to start with a quote from Hyphenator that he premised his solve with.
Cool.
This hand was played so anti-solver that I had to rerun the solves with different options and node lock until I hated these two guys, mostly Landreth.
Wow, I love it.
But let me tell you what. There are some extremely surprising outputs in this solve. And maybe it's because of all the node locking that had to be done. Because that can mess things up as far as balance and everything. But we'll see. On the flop, this is not so crazy so far. Okay, we're okay. The solver prefers a 97K bet versus 150K for Landreth.
Yeah,
whatever.
We like the smaller one too, but whatever.
Bond is supposed to call almost 100% with his hand.
Okay.
On the turn,
here we go.
Bond is supposed to check nearly 100%. Landreth is checking his exact hand 100%
What?
of
No.
the
What?
time.
No.
Yes.
How? Why?
I can't tell you. Are you? Did your brain
You
break?
broke me a little bit there. What if he has a king? What if the other guy has a king? Don't we want to build pot? I don't understand.
The solver has him
Wow.
betting a lot of his other strong hands, but this hand is 100% a check.
But don't we do better betting this hand rather than betting like a trip king's hand where we block trip
Ask
kings
the
ourselves?
robots.
I'm trying to, but they're not responding.
Yeah, they
I'm
don't.
putting it. Maybe they're hearing me.
Maybe they all.
Wow, that is shocking.
It's very shocking.
I heard you. I haven't seen the solver work obviously, but as you were writing it up so we could do this, I heard you just saying, "Wow, oh my goodness!" You had so many verbal reactions.
That
to
was
it.
the first wow.
That is really shocking.
That was the first wow.
Wow.
Let's get to some more.
Okay, good. There's
This
more.
isn't the big wow, but it's interesting. On the river with Bone's hand, given or Bond, whatever we're calling him,
Bond.
given the option to bet 340K, 200K, or check. He bet 200K if you remember.
Right.
GTO Plus wants to bet 200K 0% of the time, bet 340K 40% of the time, and check 60% of the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? Is it because obviously we never get the actual answer, but I'm going to think out loud for a second. We assume our opponent has very few strong hands here that can call anyway. That's my first guess.
Diamonds came in. Boats are scary. I don't know.
Diamonds usually bet the turn anyway. So hearts usually bet the turn anyway. Ace Queen can call us, but Ace Queen might bet if we check anyway. Aces can call us, but they will bet if we check anyway. Maybe that's the thinking.
Maybe that's the thinking.
Like the things that can call us would bet anyway. So why are we betting? Would be the question. That's interesting, but that makes more sense to me than the last one.
Here's the solver result that we kind of expected that disagrees with us.
Yeah.
Landreth should jam all boats. Like that's not like such a surprising output for the solver.
If the solver's thinking of this just as straight blinds to be one, of course. Like look how little we have. It's got a pot back basically, right? I mean, of course it should jam.
You ready? You ready for the next wow?
Sure.
Bond is supposed to call 100% of the time.
Well, if the solver is thinking of this from the point of view of it's like 13 more blinds, of course he is.
Yeah.
If the solver's aware of the ICM implications that we are,
yeah,
then the solver. I don't know if the solver will have a similar output or not. Right.
I don't know either.
But if it's not thinking about this in terms of any kind of like the money part of it, of course it should call. You can just reach back in your pocket and get more. Of course you should call.
But how about the check back on the turn?
I don't understand any of it. That one, that's the one that really I want to pull my hair out and then put it back in.
Put it back in.
I have to pull it out first.
Put it back in.
I will, but I can't until I pull it
Okay,
out.
pull it out.
I'm not going to do that on camera.
We're not on camera.
Oh, I'm not going to do that on a microphone, though.
Do it.
Okay. Ah! It really hurt more than I thought. Do you have things that hurt you? Did these plays hurt you? Did the solvers' crazy analysis hurt you? What do you think about all this? Let us know in the comments. We want to hear what you have to say.
Join our Discord. It's fun. You can chat about this hand, other stuff. We'll be there. We'll be having fun. You should be having fun too. We'll see you there.